Hi, Talya here from Savannah Therapeutic Stories, and today share a story. I'm going to read you Georgie the Elf's Big Game, our newest book, and it has been beautifully illustrated by Erin. There once was a little tree elf called Georgie, and he loved nothing more than to play. He loved playing hunt for the best berries or spot the biggest star in the night's sky. But his favourite game of all was hide and seek. He thought he was definitely the best hider in his village. One day, all the village children elves decided that they were going to have a game of hide and seek. They all ran to the forest excitedly, leaping about looking for the best places to hide. Georgie, who always had his trusted little mouse Doopy by his side, knew the perfect place to hide. Next to the tallest tree were 3 tiny little rocks, and because he was so teeny tiny, he could just about squeeze in the middle of them and not be found. With Doopy close by his side, they squeezed in and waited. He could hear his friend Elvis Elf shout, "I'm coming, ready or not." Georgie giggled to himself, feeling very excited, as he knew Elvis would never find him. Although secretly he hoped he would, as he loved the feeling of being found, and of course he also loved to help find the others who were hiding. As the game continued, the elves became distracted, as it took so long to find everyone. As their tummies began to rumble, signalling it was close to dinner time, they started to walk home, chatting as they went, not realizing that one little elf was missing. Now Georgie could hear his squeals of dismay and delight as Elvis found their friends, so he continued to wait and wait. But because the gap between the rocks was so teeny tiny, it was also very warm inside. Soon Georgie fell fast asleep, stroking Doopy. A few hours later, he woke up with a start and realized that he had not been found, and it had started to get dark. He looked out of his little hiding place with his eyes as big as saucers, with a sinking feeling in his stomach. He began to feel a bit wibbly-wobbly and upset at being left alone in the forest. Georgie felt like he'd been forgotten. No one had come to find him. He climbed out of the teeny tiny gap and looked around. He could not see any of the other elves. The forest had become very quiet as the sun had begun to set. Georgie's eyes filled with tears at the feeling that no one had found him. A thought at the back of his head beeped loudly, saying, "No one has even missed me." Georgie scooped Doopy up and slowly started to walk back home, feeling sad and forgotten. A thought playing over and over in his head that he had not been found, and perhaps his friends had not missed him, and the sinking feeling this gave him. When he came closer to the big tree where all the elves lived, he saw Elvis running towards him. Elvis threw his arms around Georgie as the words tumbled out of his mouth and said, "I'm so sorry, Georgie. I could not find you anywhere. And I thought one of our other friends had, and we became so hungry. And then when we got home and realized you were not with us, we were all so scared." Relieved that he had not been forgotten, Georgie replied, "That's okay, Elvis. I'm sorry if I scared you. I did not mean to." All the elves, big and small, came running, so pleased to see Georgie and see that he was safe. After explaining what had happened, everyone cheered and said, "Georgie, you're definitely the best hider in our village." If you've enjoyed the story, please donate to the wonderful charity Roundabout. Take care.